Welcome to the leading podcast for long-term weight management. Subscribe to the podcast so that you don't miss an episode. You can connect with Jenny on all social media channels. You can also sign up to the newsletter to receive frequent content and tips for weight loss success.
Hey guys, welcome to the Power Over Food podcast. I hope you are well. It is 8:45 in the morning here in Coventry in the UK, and I'm feeling really high vibe. And the reason I'm feeling really high vibe is because, well, one, I set that intention. I got up early, I had a plan for the day, and I am working through that plan. And this early in the morning, I've already done my journaling, I've set my intentions for the day, I've done some alignment work, I've been for a walk, I've had a protein breakfast and showered, got Nancy off to school, and I'm ready to embrace the day. I don't know about you, but certainly when you start the day off well and you have a plan for the day, okay, sometimes it doesn't always go to plan, but it does set you up and put you in the right frame of mind for accomplishing what you need to out of that day. So today I am starting off with secret eating. Sorry, just going back actually to what I was just saying. My tip there is be intentional with your energy. What do you want to achieve out of each day? Set the intention and then be intentional with the actions you take. Anyway, so today I wanted to talk about secret eating and how to overcome secret eating. And this is a topic that comes up a lot for my clients, and it is a podcast that's been requested several times. Now, I have recorded a podcast about secret eating before, and that was probably about 18 months ago. And it was one of my really early episodes. So I'd say it was in the first 10 or 15 podcasts that I recorded. So let's dive in again, and hopefully several months, if not years on, I can shed some new light on this for you. And I also believe that we often need to hear things several times before we take them on board, before we embed them. And we also need to be ready to hear them. So if you have listened to the other episode on secret eating, and maybe you've listened to the podcast more than once, because I had a lady text me the other day saying she was going through them a second time, which is amazing that she even wants to listen to them a second time. So thank you for sharing that with me, and thank you. I'm so glad they're so helpful. I'm mumbling now, so let's dive in. So first of all, what is secret eating? So secret eating is, I guess it's the act of eating in secret without anybody else being present, the act of hiding food, and also the lying about food. Because certainly when I was secret eating, I would lie about how much I had eaten. I'm trying to think of examples of when I was secret eating a lot. I'm not trying to, it's really easy because I remember them, and I remember the pain and the guilt and the discomfort that I felt even when I was eating. And certainly for the moment that led up to that eating and then the come down after was really not a nice place to be in. And maybe for the seconds that I was eating, that was soothed, but it soon came back quite quickly. Moments when I was secret eating, I can remember doing things like I would go to McDonald's drive-through, sit in the car park and eat, discard the evidence and carry on with my day like I hadn't eaten it. I would buy something in Tesco, like a 4-pack of something, eat one of them, think that was delicious, put them, I don't know, in the bread bin, and then go back for another one, and then think, I can't let people know I've eaten 2 of them. So I would work my way through the other 2 or hide the other 2 to eat later so that nobody knew that I had bought and eaten those things, whatever they were. I'm thinking like cakes, donuts. I would often lie about how much food I had eaten. So I might, if I was going out for a meal with friends and I couldn't wait, I'd eat something like a couple of slices of toast and some crisps before I left the house. And then I would say, gosh, I'm starving, I haven't eaten all day, to justify ordering the biggest thing on the menu. So that's the type of thing secret eaters do. And I'm sure that if you're listening to this podcast, most of you will be able to relate to this in some way. Not everybody, because I definitely work with ladies who say, yeah, that's one thing I don't do. I don't eat in secret, and I certainly don't feel guilty about what I've eaten. And do you know what? That's great. That's brilliant, because we all have our own challenges with food. If secret eating isn't one of them, then that is great. And certainly if you have been able to not go into that shame and guilt and those real feelings of discomfort when you're overeating, then that is also a win. Okay, why do we do it? Right, well, I've got a few reasons here. I think there's the emotional pull to food, and all of the different emotional reasons we eat, whether we are happy, sad, anxious, stressed, celebrating, lonely, bored, we eat for those different reasons. And if we've already eaten our lunch, our evening meal, whatever, but we are feeling some sort of discomfort with our emotions and we want to use food to soothe, it is quite likely that we might go and do that in private so that people aren't asking why we're eating, okay? And emotional eating is a whole other subject, but that can be one reason. There is the pressure to be a certain shape or certain size, so that pressure to lose weight. And often when we are restricting food, we are on a diet, we are still physically hungry, mainly because a lot of diets don't guide us fully to eating the types of foods that are going to serve our body. Or if they do, we're still stuck in that cycle of, well, if I just count calories and stay under my calorie account, it doesn't matter what I'm eating. And then what we're doing is not really filling ourselves up with nourishing, wholesome foods. So we are still struggling to feel satisfied with the food we're eating, and then we feel like we shouldn't eat anymore, so therefore we eat in secret. And I think that's certainly one of the places I was in. Alongside the emotional eating, I was secret eating because I was restricting food so much, and my body needed to find a way of eating food and being satisfied. Coming with that, there is that fear of being judged, being criticised for what we're eating. I can remember my dad saying to me, and he didn't mean any harm by it, but things like, should you be eating that? Aren't you on a diet? Do you know how many calories are in that? You know, the women in the office might say, my dad wouldn't say that, but certainly, you know, people that you're working with might pass comment. And whether they mean any harm or not, it is firstly not okay to pass comment on what other people are eating or how other people choose to live their life with food. But yet it seems such a common topic and a subject that everybody seems to think they've got the right to comment on, and that everybody seems to know the answer, don't they? They jump in, and I'm sure I've said this before on a previous podcast, they jump in and give their opinion on, well, Sally down the road did this and she's lost weight and she looks great, or my friend did that and she put it all back on as soon as she stopped. Everyone's got their opinion. They think they know what to do. And do you know what really frustrates me is when you go into a Facebook group for weight loss and people say, I need to lose X amount. Tell me what you're doing. And there's a thread of 100 comments on different people saying, you just need to do this, just need to do that. So first of all, that person is bombarded with so much information that is just so overwhelming. But also, they're looking to others to tell them what the answer is. And the answer isn't out there. The answer is within us. The answer is with us making peace with ourselves, with us understanding why we eat, and with us changing that relationship with food. And that takes time. That isn't about just joining the next diet that the person in the Facebook group or that your friend has recommended for you. And the other reason you might secret eat is because of beliefs that you've formed around what women should eat. And I say women because I think my listeners are women, but if you are a man listening to this podcast, a huge welcome to you. I'm so excited that you are here. And excuse me for always referring to everything I talk about as women, but my main audience is women. And a belief that you might have formed is that women don't eat lunch. You might have grown up in a household where your mum was always too busy to eat lunch, or your mum for whatever reason, didn't eat lunch in front of you. So you developed the belief that women don't eat lunch. And for all you know, she might have had a big breakfast, she might be eating later on, but for some reason you've developed that belief. Or maybe she just genuinely didn't eat lunch because she didn't feel that she needed it. There's different beliefs we form around things. And then what happens is, if we believe, well, that is what women do, women don't eat that meal, but we feel we need to eat that meal, again, it's like we either try and skip it or we eat it in secret because that is the belief that has been set. So, how do we overcome secret eating? What can we do to change that cycle? Well, there's a few things here. And the first thing I wanted to talk about is self-awareness. So it is developing that awareness within yourself, and maybe it's worth just keeping a private note on your phone or in a journal on the times that you are most likely to secret eat. So this is what I call recognizing the triggers, recognizing the emotions associated with secret eating. So that's something, because awareness is so key. The more we bring our awareness about our behavior around food into the light, it's almost like shining a torch on it and looking at it and thinking, okay, now I understand what I'm doing. Because once you understand, then you can start to make steps and changes to help yourself. So developing self-awareness is the first key, if you like. Another thing is cultivating a healthy relationship with food and with yourself and your body, because it's very hard to make changes from a place where you are not liking yourself. And I've talked about this many times. You can't hate yourself slim. You need to love yourself in order to make those changes. So start working on a healthy relationship with yourself. Catch the negative self-talk. Start talking to yourself from a place of love, as if you are talking to your best friend or your child. Speak with kindness, speak with compassion, be curious about your relationship with food, and work on having that healthy relationship with food and with your body. Work on listening to your body's needs. Get in tune. What does your body need? When does your body feel physically hungry? When is it full? Not over full, but satisfied. So get in tune. Some call this intuitive eating, but just get in tune with what your body actually needs for nourishment. And not just with food, but with self-care, with moving your body, with taking time out, with meditation, journaling, going for that walk. And celebrate these victories that you have with yourself. If you have started to make small changes, celebrate the wins, because all of this will help you raise your vibe. It will help you feel better and embrace that next stage of the journey. Another thing is setting realistic goals that are sustainable, because when we are in that cycle with food, quite often Monday comes round after we've felt so rubbish on Sunday for what we've eaten over the weekend, and we say, right, this is it, I'm doing it. But we set ourselves such unattainable goals, like we're going to go to the gym 5 times a week, or we're only going to eat X, Y, and Z foods. And whilst we can do that for maybe a week or two, it's always very short-lived, which eventually means you crash and you feel so rubbish about it. And that, again, can lead back into that cycle of secret eating and all of the discomfort that goes around that. It's really important to be realistic. Maybe shift the focus from weight loss, if that is your goal, to overall well-being and food freedom. So understand that if you are going on and off the diet, understand the dangers and the pitfalls of that. And whilst I worked in that industry for far too long than I care to admit, now I'm out of it. And towards the end, I could see the dangers that people were just stuck in that cycle of self-loathing, of blaming themselves. And yeah, it's my fault. I didn't stick to it. It's my fault. I'm so rubbish at this. I can't control myself. And all of that negative self-talk just keeps you stuck in that cycle. The universe hears, oh yeah, you can't control yourself. So that's what it gives you. Yeah, it just it throws you more obstacles in the way. So yeah, learning to love yourself is really, really key. And this takes work. And there is a podcast that I recorded with Self Love Sarah quite a while ago. Feel free to go and listen to that one. And developing coping strategies. So what can you do when you notice that trigger? If you notice yourself wanting to secret eat, can you distract yourself? Can you chat with a friend? And actually, is there anybody you can share your struggles with? Because there's a famous saying, isn't there, a problem shared and all that? But it is about being able to be open and honest. And the last time I talked about secret eating, I'm pretty sure that I talked about the Johari window, which is about having your hidden self and your open self and your unknown self. But your hidden self is those secrets around food that we're not always willing to share. But actually, when we're more open with people and saying, I'm actually really struggling with my relationship with food and this is where I am, you then have someone to confide in and you can share that journey. And obviously it has to be someone you trust, which is why a lot of people choose to work with a coach, because you have that person that is constantly in your corner. But if you're going to talk to someone, just make sure it's someone that you can trust, someone that's not going to throw it back at you in an argument or criticize you or judge you, but just someone who can be there for you. Once you've told someone else, it's much less of a secret. So it becomes a little bit more, okay, I've told someone. It's almost like it's like another step forward for you. And it can also often feel like a real weight has been lifted because you have shared that secret, and it just become our dirty little secret, doesn't it? So when you tell somebody else, it feels like, okay, that's a step forward. Let's try and round all of that up. So I've covered the reasons we secret eat, which I think were quite clear, and how to overcome them. The key really is being okay with who you are, accepting yourself for all of your struggles and saying, right, from this moment forward, I'm going to embrace myself. I'm going to work on self-love. I'm going to be curious about my relationship with food without any judgment. And I'm just going to start to learn about who I am, my beliefs about food, about weight, about size, about eating, and just build on that. This isn't a case for most people of, I will never secret eat again. I will never emotionally eat again. This is a case of, I'm going to develop my skills and I'm going to get better and better at this journey with food. And remember that if you are like me and undoing a lifetime of eating for various reasons that aren't physical hunger, then it might take some time. As I often say, I am years and years into this. 2004, I started working on my relationship with food, and I still overindulge. I still make choices that don't serve my body, and I sometimes regret what I've eaten, but I don't even know if regret's the right word. I certainly don't feel guilty. I might reflect, but I do not feel guilty. I just think, okay, that's interesting that I've done that. I've chosen those foods. That's interesting that I'm here feeling this way again. What can I learn from this moment? So I hope that has helped you. As always, I would love to hear from you if this resonated with you. Drop me a message on social media, drop me an email, and feel free to tag me on social media to say that you've just listened and it was really helpful, if it was helpful, and leave me a review. And please share if you know somebody else that might, and I know that's a difficult conversation, so sharing with somebody that might be struggling, but just opening that gate for them could be such a game changer. So please do share, and even if you share it on social media and they might see it, that would be amazing. So I'm wishing you a wonderful day, and I will speak to you soon. Take care, guys.